Hi guys, welcome to my study compass. In this video, I'll be walking you through the past paper, Math P2, Variant 1, May-June 2021. Let's get started. Write down the order of rotational symmetry of this diagram. In one complete revolution, the number of times that we can have an object look exactly like the original is the order of rotational symmetry for the object. And so when we apply that definition to this case, we have the order of rotational symmetry being equal to 4. On the diagram, draw all the lines of symmetry. So a line of symmetry is any line that cuts a shape into two halves such that one half of the shape is a mirror image of the other half of the shape. And so for this shape, we have a total of 4 lines of symmetry. The probability that a train is late is 0.15. Write down the probability that the train is not late. So we know that the probability that the train is late plus the probability that the train is not late must be equal to 1. And so to find the probability that the train is not late, we subtract 0.15 from 1 and we get a final answer of 0.85. The stem and leaf diagram shows the number of hours that each of 16 students studied last week. Find the median. So the median is the middle number. And since the numbers in the stem and leaf diagram has been arranged in ascending order, we can try to find the middle numbers from this. And so we have 27 and 29 as the middle numbers. And so to find the median, we add both numbers and divide by 2. And so that gives us a median of 28 hours. Find the mode. We know that the mode is the most recurring number. And in this case, the most recurring number is 21. Find the range. So the range is the difference between the maximum number and the minimum number. The maximum number is 47 and the minimum number is 12. And so when we subtract these two numbers, we get our range as 35 hours. The diagram shows two parallel lines intersected by two straight lines. Find the values of A, B, and C. So when we take a look at the diagram, we can quickly tell the value of A because we know that vertically opposite angles are equal. And so since the angle above A is equal to 59 degrees, then it means that A is also equal to 59 degrees. Angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. And so we can tell the value of this missing angle right here by subtracting the sum of 59 degrees and 37 degrees from 180 degrees, and that gives us a value of 84 degrees. These angles here are alternate angles, and we know that alternate angles are equal, and so that means that C is equal to 84 degrees. Now that we have the values of A and C, we can easily find the value of angle B. Angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees, and so to find the value of B, we can subtract the sum of 59 and 84 from 180 degrees, and that gives us the value of B as 37 degrees. Work out 6 - 5 plus 8 - 1. 6 plus 8 gives us 14, and -5 plus -1 gives us -6. And so we have our final answer as 14 - 6. Work out 3 times -4, 7. 3 times -4 gives us -12, and 3 times 7 gives us 21. The nth term of a sequence is n squared plus 3n. Find the first 3 terms of this sequence. And so to find the first term, we put in n equals 1 into the sequence and we get the first term as 4. For the second term, we put in n equals 2 into the sequence and we get 10 as the second term. For the third term, we put in n equals 3 into the sequence and we get 18 as the third term. So for the first 3 terms of the sequence, we have 4, 10, and 18. These are the first 5 terms of a different sequence. Find the nth term of this sequence. And so when we take a look at the sequence, we can see a common difference of -7. To find the nth term of any sequence with a common difference, we can use the formula an equals a1 plus n minus 1 times d. And all we need to do is to find a1 and d and slot it into the formula. So for this case, a1 is the first term of the sequence and that will be 25. The common difference, which is d, is equal to -7. And so when we slot that into the formula and simplify it further, we arrive at the nth term as 32 minus 7n. Solve the simultaneous equations. You must show all your working. 2x plus y equals 3, x minus 5y equals 40. Based on your preference, you can either choose to use the substitution method or the elimination method to solve the simultaneous equations. In this case, we are going to go through the elimination method. To eliminate the variable x, since we have 2x in equation 1, we are going to try to have 2x in equation 2, and we can achieve that by multiplying through equation 2 by 2. And when we do that, we get 2x minus 10y equals 80, and we can label that as equation 3. And so now we can subtract equation 1 from equation 3. 2x minus 2x gives us 0, so it cancels out. And we have -10y minus 1y equals 80 minus 3. -10y minus 1y gives us -11y equals 80 minus 3, giving us 77. And so when we make y the subject, we get 77 divided by -11, which gives us -7. So now that we know the value of y, we can easily find the value of x by putting the value of y in any of the equations. And so in this case, I placed the value of y in equation 2. And so that gives us x minus 5 times -7 equals 40. When we simplify this, we get x plus 35 equals 40. And so this gives us a final value of x equals 5. So our final answers are x equals 5, y equals -7. Without using a calculator, work out 1 whole number 3 over 8 minus 5 over 6. You must show all your working and give your answer as a fraction in its simplest form. So in the first step, we convert the mixed fraction into an improper fraction, and that gives us 11 over 8. So in the next step, we need to find the LCM of 8 and 6, which is 24. So 8 goes into 24 3 times, multiplied by the numerator, which is 11, gives us 33, minus 6 goes into 24 4 times, multiplied by the numerator, which is 5, we get 20. So 33 minus 20 gives us 13 divided by 24. We cannot simplify this any further, and so our final answer is 13 over 24. A is the point 5, -5, and B is the point 9, 3. Find the coordinates of the midpoint of AB. So by applying the midpoint formula, the x-coordinate of the midpoint is 5 plus 9 divided by 2, and the y-coordinate of the midpoint is -5 plus 3 divided by 2. So 5 plus 9 divided by 2 gives us 7, and -5 plus 3 divided by 2 gives us -1. And so the coordinates of the midpoints of AB are 7 and -1. Find the length of AB. And so to find the length, we apply the distance formula or the length formula. So that gives us the square root of 5 minus 9 all squared plus -5 minus 3 all squared. And when we type this into the calculator, we get the length of AB as 8.94, correct to 3 significant figures. Describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle B. So when we look at triangle A and triangle B, we can tell straight away that triangle A has been rotated 90 degrees anti-clockwise to get triangle B. The next thing we need to determine is the center of rotation. To determine the center of rotation, we can connect at least two corresponding points on shape A and shape B. After doing this, we draw the perpendicular bisectors of both of these lines. Wherever these two lines intersect is the point of rotation, and when we do this, we get the center of rotation as 0, -1. And so the description for this transformation of triangle A onto triangle B is rotation 90 degrees anti-clockwise about the center 0, -1. Describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle C. So when we look at triangle A and triangle C, straight away we can tell that this is an enlargement by a scale factor of 1/3. The next thing is to determine the center of enlargement. And so we can join at least 2 points, and when we do that, we get the center of enlargement as 6, 6. And so to describe the transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle C, that will be an enlargement by a scale factor of 1/3 about the center 6, 6. Draw the image of triangle A after a translation by the vector 2, 10. And so to do this, we need to move each point on triangle A 2 times to the right and 10 times upwards. And when we do this, we can map out the new translated image of triangle A. Simplify fully. 4ab raised to the power 5 or raised to the power 4. So when we apply one of the rules of indices, we get 4 raised to the power 4 times a raised to the power 4 times b raised to the power 5 times 4. 4 raised to the power 4 gives us 256, and b raised to the power 5 times 4 gives us b raised to the power 20. And so our final answer is 256, a raised to the power 4, b raised to the power 20. 2p raised to the power 1/3 equals 6. Find the value of p. And so if 2 is multiplying on one side of the equation, it goes to divide 6 on the other side of the equation. When we cube both sides of the equation, we are left with p equals 3 cubed. 3 cubed is equal to 27, and so our final answer is p equals 27. 81 squared divided by 3 raised to the power t equals 9. Find the value of t. And so to find the value of t, we need to rewrite this equation to the same base, which is 3. So 81 can be rewritten as 3 raised to the power 4, and 9 can be rewritten as. And so when we further simplify this, we have 3 raised to the power 8 divided by 3 raised to the power t equals 3 squared. And so since the bases are now equal, we can apply one of the rules of indices, and we get 8 minus t equals 2. When we make t the subject, we get t equals 6. The profit a company makes decreases exponentially at a rate of 0.9% per year. In 2014, the profit was $9,500. Calculate the profit in 2019. So for this question, we are going to apply the compound interest formula. And since we are dealing with an exponential decrease, we are going to use a minus. A represents the final amount at the end of 2019. A represents the initial amount at the end of 2014, and R represents the rate of decrease, and T represents the time duration in years, which in this case is equal to 5. And so to find the total amount at the end of 2019, we have $9,500 times 1 minus 0.9 divided by 100, all raised to the power 5. And so when we type this into the calculator, we get $9,080.13, correct to 2 decimal places. On a map, a lake has an area of 32 centimeters squared. The scale of the map is 1:24,000. Calculate the actual area of the lake. Give your answer in kilometers squared. So first off, we will set up our ratio, and since we are dealing with area, we are going to square the scale. And so to find the area of the actual lake, we now have 24,000 squared divided by 1 squared times 32 centimeters squared. To convert centimeters squared to kilometers squared, we multiply 32 by 10 raised to the power negative 10. And when we type this into the calculator, we get a final answer of 1.8432 kilometers squared. Y is directly proportional to the square root of x minus 3. When x equals 28, y equals 20. Find y when x equals 39. So in mathematical terms, we rewrite y is directly proportional to the square root of x minus 3. And so this means that y is equal to a constant which we are going to call k times the square root of x minus 3. So to find the value of k, we slot in the given values of x and y in the question. When x equals 28, y equals 20, and so that gives us 20 equals k times square root of 28 minus 3. When we simplify this further, we get the value of k as 4. So now we have y is equal to 4 times the square root of x minus 3. When the value of x is equal to 39, we have y equals 4 times square root of 39 minus 3. When we type this into the calculator, we get the value of y as 24. Make h the subject of the formula 2mh equals g times 1 minus h. So first off, we expand the brackets, and so that gives us 2mh equals g minus gh. H appears on both sides of the equation. Since we want to make h the subject of the formula, we need to get all the h terms on one side of the equation, and so that gives us 2mh plus gh equals g. And so when we factor out h, we are left with h into brackets 2m plus g equals g. And when we make h the subject, 2m plus g, which is multiplying h on one side of the equation, goes to the other side of the equation to divide g. And so we are left with a final answer of h equals g divided by 2m plus g. Find the gradient of line L. And so to find the gradient of line L, we know that y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And so we need to identify 2 points on the given line. And so the 2 points we'll be using are 0, 2, and 4, negative 1. And so when we slot that into the formula, we get a final answer of m equals negative 3 over 4. Find the equation of line L in the form y equals mx plus c. We already know the value of m, and so we have y equals negative 3 over 4x plus c. To find the value of c, we can use one set of coordinates on the line L, and for this we will be using 0, 2. When we slot in these coordinates into the equation, we get the value of c as 2. Hence, we have the equation of the line L as y equals negative 3 over 4x plus 2. Find the equation of the line that is perpendicular to line L and passes through the points 12, negative 7. Give your answer in the form y equals mx plus c. So we know that the product of the slopes of two perpendicular lines equals negative 1. And we already know the slope of one of the lines, and so we can put that into the equation, and we can get the slope of the perpendicular line as 4 over 3. So now we have y equals 4 over 3x plus c, and we've been told that the perpendicular line passes through the point 12, negative 7. So we are going to put these coordinates into our equation to find the value of c. And so we have negative 7 equals 4 over 3 times 12 plus c. When we simplify this and make c the subject, we get the value of c as negative 23. And so the equation for the perpendicular line is equal to 4 over 3x minus 23. A bag contains 3 blue buttons, 8 white buttons, and 5 red buttons. 2 buttons are picked at random from the bag without replacements. Work out the probability that the 2 buttons are either both red or both white. So first off, let's write down our probability equation. The probability of picking red on the first pick and picking red on the second pick, or the probability of picking white on the first pick and picking white again on the second pick. So these are our 2 possible cases. And so the probability of picking red in the first case is equal to 5/16, and because the buttons are picked without replacements, the probability of picking red on the second pick is 4/15. The probability of picking white on the first pick is 8/16, and without replacements, the probability of choosing white on the second pick is 7/15. And so when we type this into the calculator, we get the final probability as 19/60. S is a point on PQ such that PS is to SQ equals 4:5. Find OS in terms of A and B in its simplest form. So we can map out OS as OP plus PS. PS is equal to 4/9 of PQ, and PQ is equal to OQ minus OP. So now that we have that down, we know that OP equals A and OQ equals B. So when we simplify this, we get OS as equal to 5/9A plus 4/9B. Sketch the graph of y equals tan x for x is greater than and equal to 0 degrees and x is less than and equal to 360 degrees. And so we know that there are asymptotes at x equals 90 degrees and x equals 270 degrees. And we also know that y is equal to 0 when x is equal to 0 degrees, 180 degrees, and 360 degrees. And so with these guides, we are able to draw the graph of y equals tan x. Solve the equation 5 tan x equals 1 for x is greater than and equal to 0 degrees and is less than and equal to 360 degrees. And so we have 5 tan x equals 1. When we make tan x the subject, we get 1/5. So first off, let's find the value alpha, which is equal to tan inverse of 1/5. So tan inverse of 1/5 is equal to 11.3 degrees, correct to 1 decimal place. So to get the full range of solutions for the equation, we draw the quadrants. Since tan x is equal to 1/5 and 1/5 is a positive, we draw our lines in the A quadrant and the T quadrant. The value of alpha that we have found is the value from the horizontal axis to the lines that we've drawn. And so when we try to go around the quadrants, the first value of x we have is equal to alpha, and that is 11.3 degrees. The second value of x that we have is equal to 180 degrees plus alpha, and that will be equal to 191.3 degrees. When you go around the circle the third time, the third value of x we have will be equal to 360 degrees plus alpha. And since that is out of the range, we do not include that in our set of solutions. And so x is equal to 11.3 degrees, or x is equal to 191.3 degrees. The distance between 2 towns is 600 kilometers, correct to the nearest kilometer. A car takes 8 hours 40 minutes, correct to the nearest 10 minutes, to travel this distance. Calculate the lower bound for the average speed of the car in kilometers per hour. So first off, let's convert the time duration, which is 8 hours 40 minutes, into minutes. And so that gives us 520 minutes. To find the average speed for the car, that will be equal to the distance traveled by the car divided by the time duration. Since we want to find the lower bound of the speed, that will be equal to the lower bound of the distance divided by the upper bound of the time. And so the lower bound of the distance traveled will be equal to 600 minus 5 kilometers, and the upper bound of the time duration will be equal to 520 plus 5 minutes. We have to make sure we convert the minutes to hours, and when we type this into the calculator, we get a final answer of 68 kilometers per hour. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video useful. See you in the next video. Bye guys.